Alright, so I'm going to show how to replace the battery on this iPhone 7. So first thing you want to do, of course, is make sure to turn off the phone. So just press and hold the button here. I already turned it off. And then once it has the swipe thing, just swipe it that way to turn it off. Alright, so I'm going to use this to make it a little bit easier to work on. You don't have to do this, but if you have something that's similar, it'll make it a lot easier. Alright, so we're going to use the Pentalobe 0.8 or P2 screwdriver, and let's remove the 2 screws on the bottom here. Okay, so we got one there and then one on the other side of the charge port. Alright, once you get those 2 screws out, we're going to go ahead and pop the screen out. This one, if I remember correctly, the customer had me replace the screen, and the battery, I think somebody replaced it before because it didn't look like it had the right adhesive strips. But anyways, let's go ahead and pry this out. Okay, so we're going to go in here, get underneath, and then we're going to go along the side and do that. You don't want to put the tool too far in the front here. Okay, you're just barely inserting the tool here, just like this, over and then over the edge, because if you put the tool too far, you can damage components that are inside. So normally there's an adhesive along, so you have to kind of run the tool all the way up and down the sides. And then we're going to open this. You don't want to open it too far because there is the cable here. Okay, so you're going to hold this slightly open. All right, and then you want to get the adhesive out from up here as well. Because when you do that, what you want to do is you have to kind of pull the screen downwards. All right, so we're going to pull it downwards slightly as we kind of flip this open like a book. So here you can see. All right, so there we go, and it opens up like a book like this. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, we're going to undo this stuff here. So this is using a tri-wing screwdriver. All right, you can use a Y000 or the tri-wing 0.6. All right, so let's go ahead and remove these screws. Let me zoom in a bit here to show this. Okay, so there's just 4 screws here that we're going to remove. All right, so let's go ahead and remove those 4 screws. You want to keep them in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. If you mix them up, you can damage your phone, so keep that in mind. All right, so I got that one. We'll get the second one here. Okay. Third one here. Where'd that screw go? Oh, it's still stuck in there. All right. And then the 4th screw as well. Okay. Just like this. All right. Now that we got all 4 screws out, we're going to move this metal plate. Okay. So to remove that, just grab this. Sometimes it gets stuck to the battery connector. You might have to twist it. All right, so there we go. All right, now we're going to disconnect the battery connector. So right here. All right, so I like to use my fingernail. You can use a plastic pry tool, but just get underneath it and then pop it up just like that. Now we're going to close the screen and then press and hold the power button for about 10 to 15 seconds just to make it safer to work on. You don't really need to do this for replacing the battery, but when working on the screen, it's a lot better, a lot safer. This does help a little bit just in case you accidentally drop something in here, but other than that, yeah, it's not completely necessary. All right, so here's the way I'm going to kind of cheat to make this a little bit easier. So I'm going to use this bracket here to kind of keep the screen open. So here you can see. All right, I'm going to use some tape. I'm going to tape the screen over here so that way the screen stays up. All right, so let's close this. All right, so I'm going to get a little tape here. Alright, so I just got a little bit of tape, and what we're going to do, we're going to actually fold this a little piece of it over so that we have a release tab. You can use any kind of tape, you don't have to use any special tape. I like this tape because it doesn't hold too strong. Alright, you can also use like Scotch tape or something, so we're going to stick that on here. Okay, so I'm just sticking part of it onto the screen, and then I'm going to wrap it over here. And yep, and there we go. You can use anything. This is just like an adjustable phone stand thing. This is actually, I got it from Daiso. All right, but yeah, so normally here underneath on the bottom of the battery you would have little removable tape strips. So we're going to put these on the new battery. So it should have these little, it'll be black plastic strips that you can kind of peel, and then you can grab that and pull to stretch and release it. But again, this battery has been replaced before, and it looks like they just used a regular double stick adhesive. So we're going to have to pry it out. All right, so I'm going to use this. If you have a thin, long plastic pry tool, you can use that, but I'm going to use this, and we're just going to slowly lift this up. Okay, and hopefully it's not going to stick too strong. The other kind of adhesive that comes with the phone, you can't pry it up like this. It's going to deform the battery. It's going to like cause it to get all folded up and stuff. So if the battery has the original adhesive, you want to make sure to peel these strips and then slowly pull it back. And you want to carefully pull it straight back, because if you pull it up, or if you tear it, then you're going to have to end up trying to pry out the battery, and that's a huge pain on these. All right, so here you go. I'm going to just lift the battery up like this. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Actually, I prefer this kind of adhesive that's in here over those pull tab ones, because the pull tab adhesives, oh, they put a lot of like little tiny strips of adhesive here. Okay, so we're going to have to get these little adhesive strips out. So let's go ahead and just peel this up. So this adhesive's not too bad. It wasn't too difficult to remove. All right, it didn't take a bunch of force, so there was no like damaging the phone. But again, this is an aftermarket battery that someone installed. They don't come like this. So keep that in mind if you are working on your phone. If it's never been opened before, you're gonna have the little pull strips. I think I have a video of that somewhere, so if you're trying to find that, I'll have to probably post that. So this video probably won't be too helpful for a lot of people, but I guess this will just be kind of showing sometimes some things you work on aren't exactly the same way. So that's why sometimes when you follow the guides, you want to kind of look at what you're working on and see if it kind of matches. Sometimes customers will have stuff worked on before by someone else, and you never know, they might change stuff and do something different. All right, so I'm going to just clean up the stuff in there. All right, so let me show you how the adhesive is supposed to be. So on this old battery, okay, we're just going to, this one's pretty much garbage, I guess. I mean, it still works, so I don't know. I guess it just wasn't lasting as long as they wanted it to. So they wanted to have their battery replaced. All right, so let's go ahead and peel that adhesive. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to set this battery aside. Let's go ahead and get the replacement one. So the replacement one, these are actually all aftermarket batteries. So this one that they put here, it's actually an aftermarket battery. Like, it doesn't have the little Apple logo. This replacement one's also aftermarket, but this one actually has a bit more capacity. So this 2750 milliamp hours. This one is only 1960 milliamp hours. So yeah, this is a much larger capacity, so it's almost another 1,000. Actually, is it more than 1,000? No, 19. Okay, it's less than 1,000 milliamp hours extra, but it's a lot of extra battery. All right, so it'll come with this adhesive like this, and usually what you want to do is we're going to peel these things off. So when you peel this off, what you want to do, okay, make sure both this white and this white with the separated black is showing. And we're going to actually be sticking the adhesive onto the back of the battery. I've actually put the adhesive on backwards one time, and then pretty much you won't have this anymore. And that's how you end up using the regular double stick adhesive like the other place did. All right, so anyways, let's go ahead and peel this back. So the way you want to peel this blue layer back, you want to actually roll it backwards like this. So I folded the blue layer over like that. And what we're going to do, we're going to roll it backwards. The reason why we do this is because it keeps downward pressure on this adhesive, and it prevents bubbles from forming. If you just pull it up, you'll end up creating bubbles on this adhesive, and then it's not going to sit flat. And when that happens, then the screen is actually going to press against the battery, and it's going to cause problems. Like, you're going to see the screen make weird colors when you press on it. All right, and this battery, I believe, is, or at least it feels heavier. I don't know if it's maybe ever so slightly thicker. All right, so anyways, we're going to line this up. So what you want to do is you kind of want to get this lined up to where this piece will go up like this, okay? If you're opening yours, you'll actually see what it looks like. So basically this adhesive will go like that. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna hold that onto the battery and then I'm gonna roll this over, all right? So let's go ahead and get this piece like that and then flip it over and then we're gonna roll it on top just like that. You can let go of this. And now that you have the position, let's go ahead and let this down just like that. All right, then we're gonna flip it over and then make sure to press the adhesive down firmly. Make sure it gets completely stuck onto the thing, just like that. Okay, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna peel off the blue one here. All right, this one's a little bit tricky, but we're just gonna pull it backwards like this. There we go. Okay, then you take the pink one, oops. Then you take the pink one and you grab this and you just pull it up and wrap it on top. Hold that firmly and then make sure to press that down. There we go. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we wanna test fit the battery because this thing is not gonna fit right. I actually probably should have done this before putting the adhesive, but here you can see it's like folded kind of funny. If you look at the original battery, it's folded like this, okay? So you kind of want to get that fold in it first. So I'm gonna actually fold this over a little bit, just like that, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're going to plug the battery into here. Let me actually open this a little more. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna plug the battery in here, okay? All right, let's get this in. Get it completely lined up. Why is it being a pain? Come on. Let me see, make sure everything looks the same. Looks the same. Okay, so it's probably just not getting lined up properly. All right, get that all lined up and then push it in. Come on. Okay, so now the battery is lined up and pressed into place. If we try and pull it up, as you can see, it's staying in. All right, so now we're going to get this battery, make sure it sits in. All right, now let's go ahead and power it up and just check it. So I'm gonna keep the screen like this. I just wanna make sure the phone turns on. Okay, I see the Apple logo, so we should be good. All right, so I'm gonna wait and then I'm gonna turn the phone back off. Okay, let this battery, make sure it's good. Okay, all right, so it's on. Let me go ahead and shut it off completely. Just holding the power button and sliding to power it off. Okay, so now that we got all of that in, everything looks lined up good. What we're gonna do is we're going to flip the battery slightly. You wanna be careful not to bend the cable too much. Let's go ahead now and peel off the pink one. Actually, I'm gonna take the battery out first. So let me make sure the phone turns off completely. Okay, and let's go ahead and pop the battery connector back out of there. All right, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna do the same idea as before, rolling back this pink layer so that way it doesn't form bubbles. So we're gonna go ahead and fold this backwards like this, okay? Fold it over on itself and slowly roll it backwards, all right? Just like this, okay? And you wanna keep some pressure on the rolled part and this will kind of help keep the adhesive pressed down firmly, okay? And make less chance of bubbles forming. Okay, just like this. And there we go. So now we got the battery ready. All right, and now you want to be careful when you put this. Make sure that it goes in and sits properly, okay? So we're gonna try and get the connector in first. Okay, make sure it's lined up. Push that down. Make sure it's all good. I'm gonna make sure it turns on again. Okay, it's turning on, and then you want to push the battery as close as you can, or as far over to the right, so that way it keeps pressure. Oops, on the battery connector. I accidentally popped it out. Now I have to get that back in. All right, so you want to hold the connector down so it doesn't pop out, of course, and then keep pressure over to the right, and then we'll drop that into place. And then you can go ahead and push down to keep the adhesive in. So this is what the original battery would look like, where you would kind of peel this off and then you can pull this straight back. But the adhesives are single use, so I don't want to take that out. All right, so let's go ahead and now put back this little bracket here. Phone is starting back up. All right, so we're going to take the Y000 screwdriver and put the screws back in. Okay, make sure it's lined up. Get the screw in and we'll tighten that in place. You don't want to tighten it all the way yet because we are going to have to, let me open this up. Oh, the cats are running into the garage. Okay, their phone is on. All right, get the second one. All right, and we'll tighten this screw in. Okay, now that we got two in, we can go ahead and tighten it. All right. This one. All right, and get the last screw. This last screw is the longest one. Okay, the one that goes all the way back here. And there we go. Okay. So now we got all those screws back in. Let's go ahead and close it up. All right, so we're going to switch back over to the Pentalobe 0.8 or P2 screwdriver. Let's go ahead and peel the tape back off here. So again, I made that little release tab so we can peel this up easily. And we're going to carefully peel this tape off. All right, then we're going to close this. All right, so putting back the screen's a little bit tricky. You have to get the top half in first, so you have to get it at an angle. Let me actually zoom out. So you want to get it in at an angle, so lift this up slightly, okay, and you have to pull it back. Okay, so here you can see when you get the screen in, you'll see like this little gap up here. That's what you want. Then you slide it up, and there you go. Make sure it's slid up. And then you're going to want to push down the bottom half first while holding the center piece slightly up. Okay, it'll kind of do that on its own. So here you can see the center's like bowing out. Once you get both the top and the bottoms in place, then you can go ahead and pop that in. Right? Make sure this side as well, and then you can go ahead and pop that in. There you go. So now we just got to get the screws back in. Here you can see it's working. All right. Let's go ahead and get the T5 or, I'm sorry, the P2 or Pentalobe 0.8 screws in, and we're good to go. All right. So let's go ahead and get those screws in. All right, and you don't want to over tighten these because you can damage the screws or you can damage the screw mounts. All right, just twist it until it somewhat stops itself. There we go. Right, and that's all there is to it. Hopefully this video helped you guys. I know it's not the original battery, so it might be a little confusing. Hopefully you'll be able to figure it out with those pull tabs. If not, just send me a comment and I will try and find a video to show you how to do that. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye. Let's drop this.